Meta, the parent company of both Facebook and Instagram, says it will block certain material related to self-harm and eating disorders from appearing in the feeds of its teenage users. It comes as the Palo Alto-based tech giant faces increased scrutiny from lawmakers about its effects on teenagers' mental health. I'm joined live by Vicki Harrison from Stanford's Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
So how much of an impact do you think this adjustment Meta is making is going to have on teenagers' mental health? Does it go far enough?
I mean, it's certainly a good step, but there's a long way to go to really feel like young people are fully supported on platforms. I think what it does acknowledge is that it makes sense to have age-appropriate experiences online. So young people should be protected and have a different experience that maybe is safer for them. But there's a lot that could still be done to really support young people. We have a lot to do in terms of their privacy, making sure that when they report something troubling is happening, that's responded to quickly. And also, we haven't really figured out age verification. So as much as this is a step to protect teens, we know that a lot of people can just change their birth date and then the block potentially wouldn't apply to them.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see and really scary to see the impacts that social media can have on a teenager's brain because their brains are still developing when they're in their teen years and even past the age of 21. Can you talk to us a little bit about what social media can do to a young brain that's still growing?
Yeah, I mean, I think people can use social media in so many different ways. So it's not engages, but what they do online, what their experience is. So it's very individualized, which makes it even harder to really address some of the risks. But what we do know is that young people are very much attuned to peer influences. They're trying to figure out their identity. So they're very susceptible to a lot of the messages that they're seeing online. And peer groups mean a lot to them. So if they're seeing something that's making them feel like they don't fit in or who they feel they are isn't really being accepted or it's being made fun of, that can really have a strong impact. Also, the messages we see around eating, body image, that's really concerning during that phase of life, and people are really at risk for adopting unhealthy behaviors.
So what can parents do? Because it's been a lot of teenagers, when they get to a certain age, they're hiding a lot of stuff from their parents, and especially when it's something on their phone where they're just looking down. Sometimes the parents aren't aware of what they're seeing, what they're consuming. What can moms and dads and guardians do when they think that their child is being negatively impacted by social media?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a challenge of parenting in our generation.
Yeah.
I think the best advice we can give is to have open conversations with your young people, and have those start early when they first get devices and access to technology, because there really is a lot to navigate. And so we need to be having open conversations to help support them in making some of these judgment calls or understanding that they might need to think critically about some of the things that they're doing. Also, parents can just monitor their young people's behavior and make sure that they aren't, their mood isn't changing dramatically, or they're not spending so much time on their phone that they're avoiding other things that they also enjoy. So really just maintaining open communication and setting that expectation with your teen that or your young child that the parent will be asking questions and that they can talk to them and not like overreact if there's something startling that the young person has encountered.
Gosh, there's so many pressures on young people these days. Not only do they have to navigate what's happening in the real world, but also on their social media lives as well. It's a lot of pressure on these little guys. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Vicki Harrison from Stanford.
Thank you.